Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Diary of a Chef, titled It's Never Goodbye, featuring Young Prince. And if we switch over to here, we have the track on YouTube. We're going to be listening through this track from start to finish. You're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do this. Boom. Oh, there's a lot to take in at once with the synths, and I think they might have some animal noises before.
Top of the day. You lose somebody, so you know they're not really gone. Their memories, their thoughts will stay in as long as you want to stay in. We are energy. We don't die with this transfer. Hey, talk for a second. Hear me out.
Just before we go any further, I just want to say what a gorgeous sort of way of expressing the concept of someone obviously passing away but them never really moving on. And with these kind of fluctuating synth pads on the side, it's kind of mesmerizing and ethereal, and I like it a lot. Really great way to start things. I wasn't sure what we were getting ourselves into at the beginning, but I think it's starting to make a bit more sense now.
Never goodbye, I see you on the other side. Thanks for your time, I enjoyed the ride. You know I'm a shine. We gon' change the world, right? Party on the line. It's never goodbye. I see the other side.
I love you, want you. Fishing with you. Talking through the Mars. Wanna get him with you.
Sorry to interrupt the verse. Just I want to say the lovely coloration in their vocal melody. I know there's some modulation going on in there, but I like how we've kind of let that kind of like smooth out a little bit for this verse section. We're going to the straightforward rap section. It's good. There's emotional depth and there's range to it.
I think it is. Pressure come in the eyes. The pain persists. The thoughts and the crime and the crying and the crying and the crying and the crime. Talking about. They say don't cry. I shed a tear of happiness. You was here. I thank it, God, you was here. So I say, you was here. Nah, I think, man, I wish you was here. We had many times fun hanging out, talking about the plans, about the future. We steady talking. My brain be talking, man. Wish we could be walking. I know you gone to the other side, but I'm here. So I'm gonna represent when I'm right here. Dead and gone. We scratch them verbs, scratch them words, scratch the thought, tatted on my body. Here's my thought, fishing.
Before we go any further, yeah, it's nice to have the guitar come in there. I appreciate the sentiment here. Basically, the summation of that is that we have these happy memories, this longing for the people that used to be in our lives, and we do wish they were here. Even if we understand they may not truly be gone, we still nonetheless wish they were there in body, and you know that we want to do the old stuff we used to be doing, and you know.
The games be doing, cooking, chefing out, I be moving. Could you be loving it? Thinking thoughts, brains scattered, thoughts in the brains lost, thoughts in the chains, brains lost, nobody cares, brains lost, here we go, thoughts in the thoughts and thoughts in the thoughts, drinking, smoking, what should I do, talking about in thoughts and thoughts, should I be, keep it clean, represent where I come from, so I don't smoke, so I don't drink, now I gotta be, thoughts in the thoughts, brain, nobody really care, thoughts in the thoughts, talking about life, who thoughts really care, thoughts in the thoughts, scattered pressure, brain thoughts, who really cares, so I remember you cared, so I want to be clear.
I like that bring that record back, and then kind of being aware of it, remembering that person cared. Yeah, your brain getting overwhelmed and having that moment of clarity is very important. Those 808s are fantastic. They're a lot of fun. And I know this is a very somber, kind of bittersweet track, but at the same time, just the distortion of those, how they thud in the mix alongside those kicks. And they contrast really well with the gentle sort of steel string acoustic guitar parts in the pads. With those lovely sort of ascending, transcendent melodies and harmonic textures.
Never goodbye, I see the other side. Thanks for your time, we enjoyed the ride. You know we gon' shine, I'm taking over, I'ma change the world. We partied all night, it's never goodbye. I see the other side.
Thank you. Hey. If you ever lost somebody and you grieving for them and you want
Great
them,
filtering on those kicks here.
sit back and think about all the good times, all the bad times, all the thoughts and emotions you had, and bring it to light and thank God for all of it. Cause they ain't never dead and gone, they just displaced. If you understand what I'm saying, have a good day.
I love that sentiment there. I think it's beautiful. It's not only expressing yourselves as musicians and telling people our story, it's also letting people out there know that, hey, even if it hurts, you can find peace with the situation. You can make it's just so supportive. It's a really nice vibe I'm getting from this track.
It's never goodbye.
Oh, back here. So that was an interlude.
Thanks for your time. We enjoy the ride. You know we gon' shine. I'm taking over. I'm change the world. We partied all night. It's never goodbye. I see the other side.
Phenomenal cymbal work on those drums, eh? I can't imagine how long it would have taken to program them. Even if they were like looping them in the DAW they were using. Just like to get those clicks there and have those 16ths and triplets in there, it's really articulate and it doesn't detract from the main groove we've got with the vocals and everything else. I kind of am surprised that the 4 minutes 6 went that quickly, man. Because, I mean, this is my conclusion to my review of this track, It's Never Goodbye, featuring Young Prince, by Diary of a Chef. I presume off of their Final Chapter album. I assume this is the album art for it, as I saw another song before that was off of that. Okay, let's talk about it. What was the song about? I mean, I think I've already sort of like elaborated on what I feel it is. I mean, anyone listening can tell. It's about coming to terms with losing someone, the memories that you had, and understanding that they haven't completely left your life, that they're still there, the memories and everything else, their energy is there. You know what I mean? It's that kind of groove. And I think that the vocal performance here, both from, I'm assuming that Diary of a Chef did like the rapped and interlude spoken parts, and maybe Young Prince did the clean vocals, you know, which is cool. You know, they had different ways of expressing themselves, different vocal ranges. One did the rapping and then one did the singing, and that's cool, man. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not, you gotta work with your strengths in tracks like this. We had a really interesting vocal performance here. In the rapping sections, there was this kind of free flow texture where sometimes we moved over bars, but it almost seemed like we were kind of working our way through everything. It's like we were kind of voicing our thoughts out loud. And then at the end, realizing that they did care or something like that. Realizing at the end with that record scratch there, it's almost like we were going through, like we were writing our thoughts down, and literally using that as like the way of telling the song. And I kind of adore that. It sounds very unfiltered, and it becomes more authentic because of that. You know, Young Prince going, It's Never Goodbye, and kind of working off of the main triads within that chorus, whilst also maybe articulating some sevenths or extensions in the melody there. It's just incredible with those call and response repeaters in each of the second bits and the gaps. You know, there was absolutely no filler there. I just think, again, I cannot emphasize enough how much I love the fact that we're not only working through our own grief, but we're also trying to help others to get through theirs as well. I think that's beautiful. And it's a rare situation where I genuinely think that people will benefit from listening to a song outside of simply enjoying it, especially because I think a lot of people can relate to losing someone. I know I personally can, and I love the sentiment here. The structure of the track, it starts with that musical motif there, the intro there, and then you had the spoken part with the verse, with the chorus, and then a verse, and then another chorus, and the interlude, and then the chorus. And it was an interesting way of approaching it. The 4 minutes that we had here did not feel like 4 minutes, they felt like 40 seconds. It was very slick. There were no moments of filler, nothing to distract or detract from the enjoyment of it. At the same time, understanding that, again, it was a bittersweet experience. It's not like it's a super happy joy, like everyone jump up and party kind of song. And I think that's important for music, to try and have that connection between the story, the vocals, and the structure, and also the accompaniment here. We had these kind of really sort of magical sounding synthesizers here, warm and luscious like a blanket, in addition to the really gentle, bright guitar parts. The 808s were pretty stellar in how you did not want to screw with them, man. They're just boom, 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 boom. But it sounds cool. and it worked harmonically and had a sense of musicality that contrasted again well with the mid to high parts and just the drums that we had there with the kick, snare, and hi-hat cymbal grooves. It was just enough. It was just enough. We didn't have everything all the time. We took some stuff and came away and we brought it back in later. We had variation there. I thoroughly appreciate that, and I think that's, while many could argue it's like 101 for songwriting and composition, I would say to that, please don't take that for granted, because you miss one of those components and your song is going to suffer for it. And I don't think there's any weak spots so far on this track. The production, the recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. It's a very strong song. It's overall just a really strong track. You know, the actual recording quality of the vocals in it, as well as everything else, is stellar. There's a great presence to the rest of the instruments and a shimmer and a shine on those. The EQing, the stereo panning instruments, the filtering and the notching and gluing and the frequency spectrum in the mix was great. You know, the electric expression was fantastic. All in all, I think this is a very well written and well performed track. I'm not really sure what you could add to it to improve it. I think it's enough. So I suppose that's like the best score I can give at this point in time. I would have to probably hear more of what Diary of a Chef did to understand the bigger scope, the bigger picture here. I am hoping that by Final Chapter, this is not his last album, as he's good at what he does, and it'll be great to hear more from him, but for all I know, he could have released a few more, and maybe there's just a lot to listen through and enjoy. Kudos as well to Young Prince for the chemistry with Diary of a Chef in this. They fed off each other really well, and it sounded very complete. And that's effectively my review of It's Never Goodbye by Diary of a Chef featuring Young Prince. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias, and I'm sure this is on all major digital streaming platforms, and as well as the YouTube page. And stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.